We are the JETSters at Streampunk Sports. Lovely week we have. I'm here with Sammy D. King Rob will be joining us shortly. And Sammy, you were at the game, so I still can't believe that. It's always the games where I go in thinking, all right, we have no shot. Let's keep this respectable. And, I'm expecting the beatdown. That's usually when this team surprises me.
Mm-hmm. So, I mentioned this to someone earlier that if you want to go to a live game of the Jets, oh, look at me there, yeah.
Oh yeah, that photo was stellar.
that was my brother. He said he took that picture. If there's three teams, if I go to a game live, that I would love to be there at the game, that I would just, it's like a kick in the balls for them and like a fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
There's three teams. It was the Patriots, it would be the Cowboys, and it would be the Eagles because they're local and because we had never beat them.
Yeah.
So in my area where I was staying for the tailgating, it was pretty tame. I mean, it wasn't like, I guess they knew. I guess because they hate more the Giants than the Jets.
Yeah.
I met some Eagles fans. They were cool. We chilled. We did our tailgating and whatever. I mean, I've heard from other people that where they were, it was worse. So but
probably depends on the section.
Yeah, so and then unfortunately we got into the tailgating so much we didn't realize, oh crap, we got to go to the game. So we literally missed the whole 80-yard drive when they went, when it was overturned and then became a touchdown.
The Jalen Hurts touchdown.
Yeah. But then after that, I could tell you right now, it was a daze because it was just a back and forth, and Garrett Wilson doing his thing. I was happy that Wilson to Wilson was going on. I think he's finally learned he's your guy. Just throw it to him. Either he'll intercept it or it'll be he'll miss it. Whatever. Just throw it to him. I wish they would have done more passes on first down during the game because they their secondary is not good at all. So they
had banged up secondaries.
So I just hated when they did run, throw, or then run, throw, but it was run and it was 2nd and 13. So that was good. The defense was playing ridiculous. The special teams, it was crazy. But I think the crazier part was you got me those great tickets.
Yeah.
And
another big thank you to Amy G for
thank you.
us up with those.
I sent her a text. She never responded, but I sent her a text saying thank you. Mm-hmm. But this is the funny part during the game. I was the only one. That's an area I think it's mostly for it's easier access for the handicap.
Yeah.
So it's folding chairs. So everyone next to me, other than my brother, were older. So they weren't standing up or anything. By the middle of the second quarter, that's when I started really getting animated, and I started really cursing, and I started really screaming, and I started standing up the whole game. And I know the people under me, a lot of Eagle fans. And I was just screaming and cursing and just doing everything in my power to see if that helps. Right after halftime, all of a sudden, I noticed that behind us, all of a sudden, 2 New Jersey State Police officers were there, observing, just hanging. I don't know why, but I guess because I was the only one screaming and getting angry and stuff like that. I mean, I was high-fiving the people next to me, So, I did the smart move. So I turned around, I started talking to them and chilling and saying, look, I'm not going to do anything crazy. I'm just hanging out here. I'm just a loyal Jet fan. And then, and then they switched. Another person came, a new person came, but they saw, they saw I wasn't going to do anything. I was just screaming, a regular fan. Maybe the fans down in Philadelphia, the ones that were under Philadelphia were complaining. I don't know, whatever. But I'm telling you, those last 5 minutes were surreal because I honestly thought that the game was over. I was already talking to my brother and saying, look, this game's going to be over. They're going to just run the clock out. It's going to take a while for you for me to get out of the parking lot. So why don't you just take the train now back to, because he's from Queens. And when all of a sudden they intercept that pass, it was like surreal after that. It was like interception, touchdown. Then all of a sudden, it was basically a 3-and-out. Jalen Hurts, didn't do crap. And that's when I did the video and I sent it out. Right after that video, I sat down. I just went back. And all of a sudden, I just started bawling. Just bawling. And Rob is here now. He's saying, oh, we're lucky somebody got a video of that. I'm like, yes, because I just thought, it was just a relief. I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe we just won this game because these are the games that we always lose.
Yes.
Not the games that we win. We always lose. But I'm telling you, that defense, I could say whatever you want to say about Salah. They adjusted in the second half. They didn't score again. All these teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, they adjusted in the second half. They don't score. They're still doing the crap that when they get the ball the first time, the opposing team, they go down and score a touchdown. Doesn't change. But somehow they make an adjustment. They make great, which is good. Teams from the past, coaches from the past don't know how to adjust. They make adjustments. And, look at the records. Nobody has scored on them. They've given up one touchdown in the second half. And that was against Denver. And that was because of the roughing the pass. It was because of that.
Right.
And they're getting better and better. And they faced almost all the teams they faced were top 10 in offense. Now, they went through the gauntlet. Now, they're going to be facing teams that are in the bottom half of offense, that are in the bottom half of defense. So we really have a chance now to make a run of winning 3, 4, 5 in a row. Because the Giants, San Diego, Las Vegas, they're not better than the Jets. Even with Zach Wilson. And if they let Wilson go, take the risks. Let him throw. He's already
better every week.
Last year that he has to throw this to Wilson. And he's doing it now. So I give the floor to King Rob, who just arrived.
Yeah. I think Rob is still. I think Rob was having some sound difficulties.
I think you're on mute.
Yeah. Still nothing, Rob.
Can't hear you.
Yeah. Let me try something here. Let me try bringing them out and then try something on the back end here, see if that works. Try again. How about now, Rob? Nope. All right. Okay, well, we'll figure out some tech support. Log out and log back in, and it should be fine. But absolutely, these are the types of games that the Jets always lose, especially after that Denver game the week before. I wanted to gouge my eyes out watching that. That was ugly, and I saw a post from a good friend, but she was a salty Eagles fan who she said, Jets fans are acting like they just won the Super Bowl. why? Just stop. But everything you said is true. It's not winning the Super Bowl, but it's a weird stat of never beating the Eagles in 50 plus years. The fact that all of the teams around the Jets, including the Giants, the Eagles, the Patriots, they've all won Super Bowls, in our lifetime, let's say, even if they're not that good right now, except for the Eagles. So living vicariously through other fan bases is normally what we're used to. Let's have this one. Just enjoy it before they crap the bed and lose to the Giants next week, which just there's always something that just, this is still the Jets. So a letdown game, although less so with the bye. So I think they'll be more ready going into that one than usual, because usually no matter how good or bad the Giants are in a given year, there's every 4 years when that comes around, when they place a game that actually matters, the Jets always play like complete dog crap, or just something crazy happens, like the Victor Cruz punt return. I was there in person for that one. You want to talk about yelling and cursing and maybe getting the attention of New Jersey State Troopers? I had that round too. But just this, there's still a sense of doom. But you're watching a team like, they're actually doing this. How? The Jets had their share of stupid penalties the whole game, which usually when you have a lot of turnovers and penalties, you lose.
Yeah.
The Jets still managed to hang on. And that is just completely un-Jets-like.
So, there's a silver lining with this. I believe.
With us? No. He's
maybe on the cell phone.
Yeah.
Maybe on the cell phone.
Yeah. Or you can go in the YouTube link and type in the comments if you want. Put it on the screen.
Let me see if the cell phone will work.
Mm-hmm.
Write a cell phone. And maybe it'll work that way.
Yeah, try going in with the phone and then maybe put that on. You can put that on with no video, and then so you have the video on one screen and the audio on the other. Yeah. Despite the fact that most of us work in IT related industries, we still have issues figuring this out.
They have to take advantage now of the schedule. This is what I'm just saying. They have to, the whole preseason they talked about these 6 games. These 6 games the whole time. That they were going to be tough. It will be hard to win 1 game, maybe 2. They won 3 with Zach Wilson. So now they got to take advantage of the bye. Hopefully Tippmann is back, that it wasn't a major injury. If not, they already have, it looks like Dwayne Brown will be back. So they have bodies now. They have bodies. That's what we need. We need bodies. Dwayne Brown is better than Billy Turner.
Are you sure about that? Oh, there we go.
That's King Rob.
What's up, guys? My favorite subject to walk into, Dwayne Brown.
Ooh.
Yes. All right. So I'll let you talk. I'll let you talk since you are out. Give us your thoughts.
Oh my God. Well, one thing that resonated with me that you said, Sammy, was the just for purposes of the season, it's you beat a non-conference team, okay? So it's not, a division opponent. It's not even a conference opponent. It's still a win. But the fact that we beat the Eagles and we live in this area and don't have to hear it is such a relief. It's such a relief. Plus, it's the first time we ever beat them, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. My brother was messaging me during the game. He's a huge Eagle fan. And he had to throw, after I was rubbing it in because he was starting to run his mouth early.
Yeah.
He had to remind me. He goes, "Great, you're 1-12." I was like, "Yeah, and we're 1-0 in 2023, aren't we?" So I will take that And there's something so Jet-like about it to win and then go into the bye week, because now we're like so excited, flying high, all hype. Now we're already starting to talk. Hey, I mean, what seed can we get in the playoffs? Who do we want to play first? It's like
and then they'll get blasted by the Giants next week.
Exactly. It's just so honestly, it's so typical Jets to like pull something like this. But I don't know. I think also something Sammy said was there was that moment that every single Jet fan had it watching the end of that game. It's like, we're winning the turnover battle. We're shutting them down. We're moving the ball a bit, a couple penalties here and there, but like, this is a game we should win. Where is going to be the one play that we blow this whole thing on? And I honestly thought it was when the pass down the sideline, third down that they completed deep to AJ Brown.
Yes, AJ, yes.
Yeah.
When he caught that and it was reviewed and then they held it up, I was like, all right, I guess that's the play. They're going to score on this drive. That's how we'll lose. And then they come back, they miss the field goal. We score when Breece Hall runs in, when they let him go. I was like, oh, okay, wait, that's how we're going to lose. It's like you always have that little bit in you as a Jet fan of just like, I know we're going to blow this, I just don't know when. It was amazing. It was honestly, and the cool thing was too, that we haven't seen in so long is, I know, and you can speak to this more, you were at the game. I know someone else that was at the game that's pretty much the same as always. It's like half the stadium is the other team's fans. It happens, and Eagle fans travel well, and it's a close game and everything like that. But at the end of that game, it didn't feel like it, because that stadium sounded really loud on TV. It sounds like we actually getting that home field advantage back, which is really nice. You're watching other quarterbacks struggle to get the calls in sometimes. Like, that's exciting. That adds to all the excitement of the team actually being able to perform this year and put out a product.
Yeah, I would say that unfortunately there were a lot of Eagle fans, because when they would make a play, you could hear it. Whether it's on defense, on offense, they will make a play.
Yeah, agreed.
But when the Jets won, it was
nuts.
There was nothing. They walked away. They were like, it seemed like they walked away like with the mentality, okay, you're 1-12 now. Versus oh, we were the last undefeated team and now we lost.
Yeah.
Or, maybe we're not that good because all our games have been close. And now, everyone thought that we would beat the Jets because, we have a shitty corner. We have a shitty secondary right now because of the top two cornerbacks in the league weren't there. AJ Brown went off, but nobody else did anything.
No.
Nobody else did anything. And I'm going to put it more on the Eagles on certain things because their strategy was, oh, we don't have Sauce. They don't have Sauce or DJ Reed. Let's throw. They didn't run the ball.
We didn't let them run well either.
They really couldn't get much on the ground. Like, Hurts got a few yards here and there, but like Swift didn't do much, and Gainwell had nothing.
He didn't gain well at all.
No, he really hasn't. I dropped him from my fantasy team yesterday.
At one point,
I thought that would be a sleeper pick, but nope.
Yeah, at one point, I think deeper into the third quarter, I saw the stat line come up, and they said Swift had 7 carries for like 9 yards, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I didn't realize we were doing that well of run D, but we really were. But it's fun, like enjoying this whole thing, enjoying the win. 3-3. We all knew the first 6 games were going to be crazy. It was going to be a test and all that. It's funny, you look back and it's like, what teams did you beat? We beat the Bills, who are like always a favorite to go to the Super Bowl lately. We beat the Eagles, who were in the Super Bowl last year. And let's face it, if it wasn't for Taylor Swift, we would have beat the Chiefs too. We would have had the Super Bowl teams covered and then the cream of our division covered. Like, that's crazy. That shows you we can, and this is piling up, stockpiling injuries week after week after week too. I mean, it goes to show you a lot about this team. It's like, it's more exciting than maybe we even like thought coming into the season. It really is.
Yeah, and this was also sweet for me since I a few years ago moved to Eagles country. So
Right.
I just said I can't leave my house watching this game. Like I can't go to a bar or anything.
No.
I tried to invite a few friends over, but didn't work out. So I'm just watching in my house by myself, going nuts. I want to run down my block, but either I don't know who would have shot me first. Pirate Queen, my neighbor across the street, or Pirate Queen, my partner. So, because I told her that I said somebody will probably shoot me. Yeah, I will. If you do that.
And now it brings us to this point in like just very Jet-like fashion. It's funny. I was in the office yesterday, and a Jet fan colleague of mine was like, Rob, he's like, I need you. He's like, I'm falling for it. I'm taking the bait, and I'm actually like getting excited and thinking we're good. He goes, you got to talk me off the ledge. And I was laughing, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting there too. So this is where I come to. I was like helping him out. So there's the first road that we need to all be on is just let's just enjoy this, which I think we're all doing, and we're enjoying it. There's two other roads to go down. There's the one of saying, look, Zach has played better these last 3 games than he has his entire career. He's showing us different things. It's not even about the numbers and the stat line. It's about the way he's playing quarterback. He's putting the ball to guys in their routes. He's taking the checkdowns. Yeah, he's throwing accurate passes short. He's making better decisions. It's like a switch just hit after that Patriot game, and he's a completely different player. It's crazy. So that's really exciting. So we can either go down this path of saying, still have a great D. We're going to get our corners back. We're deep. Our D line's great. I feel like they keep getting better. Like the sky's the limit for this team. That's one direction we can go. And then the other one, and this is where I was helping my colleague out a bit, was saying like, all right, if you want to calm down a little, like we had a turnover 4-0. We beat them in turnover battle this past week. I'm like, we kind of barely won. It was a very close game where if that was 3 turnovers to 0 or 4-1, we'd probably lose. I'm like,
the penalties were a concern for me too.
And I'm like, the week before in Denver, when the turnover battle, the defense on the punt that was muffed, that we get down inside the 10, we take 3 points there. The defense got us a safety, and then they scored that touchdown at the end of the game, and we win by 10. I'm like, so you can put us in check in terms of like, all right, maybe don't get too excited. But the one thing we all have to agree on is last year, all we wanted was Zach, don't lose the football game for us. We have a great defense. Don't go out there and lose this game for us. And the one thing he's doing now, he's not losing games for us. The way he's playing, he's not playing that, like, we don't have that belief just yet where he can go out and put the team on his back and win the game for us. We're down 5 with 2 minutes left. They come out on the 20. You're not exactly like, oh, Zach's got this. We're not there yet. But if he continues to not lose games for us, who knows what can happen too.
Give me 2010 Mark Sanchez.
Exactly.
If Zach becomes Mark Sanchez, during those years where he wasn't great, but he was game manager and went into beast mode during the playoffs, I'll take that.
He sure did. He sure did.
Can Zach do that? Maybe.
I think he can. Mm-hmm. I think he can for the following reason. He doesn't have the offensive coordinator from last year.
Yes, agreed. That's a big help.
I think the biggest mistake they did with this kid, and I think that I hope they use that as like a college case study or NFL case study of, you bring a number 2 pick into the draft, you pick him, you don't bring in a rookie offensive coordinator,
right,
with a defensive minded coach, to manage him,
setting him up to fail. No,
you're set up to fail.
Yeah.
So they brought in somebody who's experienced. They brought in a passing game coordinator who was also an awesome offensive coordinator.
Right.
They brought people in that will manage him, are with him. You know, LaFleur last year would be in the top there. You know, looking from the top down. What is Hackett doing every time where there's a touchdown or 3 and out? He's sitting right next to Zach.
Yeah.
Talking to him.
And now you have Rodgers there too, where he's now down on the sideline too, walking.
Yep. And Rodgers is in his ear. So he has a lot of positivity. That's the best word around him.
Yeah.
To push him forward. And it's interesting because I don't hear it a lot because I'm not a big fan of them now anymore. But I was hearing Tiki and Evan Roberts today. But Tiki brought up a good point that was the difference. He sees that there's a chance that Zach is going to be better because he remembers when he first met Zach when he was a rookie. He said that Zach had an answer to all the questions, which he found odd for a 21-year-old. That he always had a rationalization for something, had an answer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that's not good because you don't know the answer to everything, especially for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, nobody knows crap when they're 21.
Yeah, there's also later, Tiki, who's ironically a know-it-all himself. But anyway,
yeah,
that's ironic with that. Yeah, but then he said because he did the Denver game, and they have to talk to the players and whatever. He saw the difference 3 years later where Zach didn't have all the answers. Where Zach was just one of the guys that was, and the players saw that. He saw he's seen that there's been a transformation and the maturity, has changed. I mean, he was 21 years old. I get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they just bought the wrong person to interconnect. It's like when they put Gase with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
That was the worst combination because he could be a great offensive guru, but if you don't know how to communicate with your quarterback, it's not going to matter. If you don't go to their level, so it seems like he wanted the quarterback to go to his level. You can't do that. Same thing LaFleur, I guess, because he thought, okay, this is my first gig, I got to show power, but he was terrible. And I think that hurt Zach immensely. That motherfucker has an arm, man.
He does.
He has an arm.
Once he figures out accuracy, then the sky's the limit. Which he's slowly. You're seeing the progress.
Yeah.
I saw it just from watching Hard Knocks in the preseason. We're just seeing how he was carrying himself. He was following Rodgers around, and he was like a sponge, with around him. So now that Rodgers has had the surgery, he's up and walking again. So that's great. That's great to see. Well, I don't believe the miracle cure that he wants to come back before the end of the season. When I see it, I'm not counting on that.
It won't happen.
Yeah,
I just want him in the building. Be in the building.
Exactly.
Be in Zach's ear, and it'll keep him calm.
Yeah,
they're on the same page.
Yeah.
Salah wants him in the building for that reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he should be. And I think he wants to be there too.
Yeah.
It's the but in talking about Zach's progression, it's funny because it's like in preseason and coming into this, we already kind of agreed the last time we were together and talking about this that like Zach was already showing the maturation off the field. He was starting to say the right things. He was handling the press well. He was doing, and you kept hearing all this stuff about he's confident, and that is all fantastic. But you know what? You truly can't gain a certain level of confidence without having done certain things. Because you could be the most confident, you could be the strongest mental player in the world, but if you have never demonstrated that you can do this, you can go out, put balls on receivers, back shoulder throws, throw them open, adjust the play, take your check down. If you can't do that and demonstrate you can do it, you're never going to be able to build off it because you haven't done it. Yeah. These last 3 weeks, we've seen him doing it, and it's it goes from that mentality of of watching him week in and week out. He used to wait for the receiver to run his full route, and then if he was open, he'd throw it. And that was it. There was nothing else. He's like, here's my hot receiver. If he's open at the end of this thing, I'll throw him the ball. Now he's starting to say, okay, here's the route. I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to trust that he's going to get there. And I tell you what, he got a lot of good, like Ruckert is really impressing me. This kid catches everything near him. Everything near him. Garrett Wilson, obviously, don't have to say. Lazard's actually been impressing me a little bit more than I thought. He's been playing pretty well. He had the drop.
Cobb's been a disappointment, but Lazard
Cobb's been a major disappointment. We need to get Gibson on the field more, obviously. But just coming back to Zach, watching him do that, I feel like now he has a little bit of a resume, even over these past few weeks, where he's got to even feel like, yes, I'm confident, but now, like, I have done this. Kansas City's not a bad defense. And he kind of picked that team apart. I mean, he played really well that game. He was throwing to covered guys and completing passes. That's when you're starting to say, okay, now he can build off something. And it's not just confidence in his head, but it's confidence of like, hey, I've done this. If we all think back to Tom Brady, when he was in his first few years, did he have a bad defense and gunsling the ball everywhere? No. He had an amazing defense. He took checkdowns. He took what the defense gave him. He took short and intermediate passing, and then that opened up deeper passes, and he became what he became.
Tom Brady was a game manager. He was a game manager.
His first was a real work in progress for a while until they started. He never really got an intermediate game. He got really short or really deep throws. It was a little different for him. But yeah,
everything changed until when he got Randy Moss. From that point forward.
Of course. And by then he was Tom Brady, even then. You know what I mean? So most QBs in this league start out as game managers because you can build off of that. Once the game becomes incredibly easy for you to manage, then you start taking chances. Then you start seeing things a little bit differently. And Zach's finally demonstrating that, like, he's shown us in 3 weeks that he is reading some defenses, that he is throwing balls to guys that aren't completely through their route yet. And, like, that's as encouraging as we could possibly see as Jet fans right now. I mean, that's it.
So now we know where we are, 3-3. We have a bye. There's a lot of articles now that are coming out, okay, what's next? We have the trade deadline that's the end of the month.
Mm.
So, as you saw today, they just traded Mecole Hardman, which was a good. They've been talking about it for a few weeks.
Yeah,
it was the best idea.
Mm.
Yeah, it seems like that. They want to give. And I'm hoping that's what they plan on doing is basically saying that Gibson is the number 3 receiver. Cobb could just come off the bench when if an injury comes up, he comes in. Right now he's ranked. PFF ranks him like next to last in every wide receiver category.
Terrible.
So that's it is what it is. So now the trading deadline is here. What's your thoughts of what they should do with people that are still on the roster and or people they should bring into the roster?
Who's available for them to really bring in? I mean, they probably need some. They would need some help in the, especially with the cornerback injuries. That's still an issue. So I'd see some secondary help that they should probably look for. Would be my first guess. And you can never have enough bodies on the offensive line, but that's the same issue that every team has.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. After this past game, I don't even know anymore. We're down our top 3 corners, and I'll tell you what, those guys that came in, they played great. They played really good games against high caliber team. I mean, Bryce Hall. Look at the 2 games he's had. He's been playing great football. Yeah. He's number 4 on our roster. I mean, Eccles had a great camp.
No, he's number 5. Number 5. Yeah. Eccles was above him. Eccles was above him.
Right. Yeah, but at
they were down to the 4th and 5th corners.
We have Sauce, Reed, Eccles, and then Bryce Hall.
Carter. You got Carter.
Carter's nickel, though. He's more.
Oh, okay. I got you.
You know what I mean? He's a true outside corner.
Yeah.
Bryce Hall's number 4 as far as outside, and he's playing great. And then we get these other 2 kids that we bring in that no one knew their names before this week, and they played really good games. It's crazy. And I mean, with the D line and with the pressure and the looks they give and everything they can generate there, Quincy Williams has been a godsend. He has been next level this year. And we all saw it as Jet fans last year, I think. I think we really started to appreciate him and say his name. Same thing with Bryce Huff. But I think the league and other football fans are starting to realize that Quincy Williams and Bryce Huff are talented, high caliber players. It's crazy.
So my thought is,
honestly, we need a receiver.
So my thought about the receiver, that's a good point. I believe we didn't hear him a lot, but he actually played. Carl Lawson played in the game.
Yeah, great. I forget.
That
was a bust of a signing.
He's already been passed by Bryce Huff. And I hope Joe Douglas doesn't wait until the end of the year to re-sign this motherfucker and give him a big contract. Because he's already shown he could play on first and second down. Yeah. He's already shown that. So someone online on Bleacher, I'm always looking at Bleacher. Someone brought up a good trade scenario, and that's with the Las Vegas Raiders, and that's trading Carl. Remember Chandler Jones just got cut. They need another pass rusher, and that's trading Carl Lawson to them, and then getting back Hunter Renfrow from Las Vegas. Now he doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the numbers, but it's the same thing as Carl Lawson. He doesn't have the numbers, but it's because of the system that he's playing in.
It's reasonable.
So who knows? You make a trade like that from a salary cap perspective, it's not a big deal.
No.
And you bring in Hunter Renfrow, and he could be that slot receiver. You know, you have Gibson, but you need depth. And then the second would be you need more fatties. So getting another offensive lineman who's on the street right now, and just bring a body in. I'm not expecting to, right now. Unfortunately, I saw PFF rankings. We're in the bottom 10 in offensive line. Bottom 10. Yeah. You know who's in the bottom, the Giants, but we're not far behind.
Yeah.
But
and they've been holding it together lately too, which is amazing to me. Amazing to me that they've been holding it together.
And the scariest part of this is right now, the best offensive lineman, the guy that has played the best, and the guy that has not missed anything is Mekhi Becton. He's been their best lineman right now.
Which is crazy.
I will give Becton credit where I've not been a Becton fan from the beginning, but he has played better than I expected this year. And even last week without Vera Tucker, they still they've still managed to hold it together, but they need a few more bodies. Another player that's impressed me the last few weeks is Ty Conklin, and how he's become a nice safety valve for Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing. You're talking about tight ends.
Yes.
You need to bench this other guy,
Uzoma.
CJ Uzoma. Yeah.
Yes, he should be the number 3, and Rucker should be the number 2, hands down.
I think it's starting to shift that way. To be honest,
they need to make these shifts now. During the bye week, you put Gibson in, you put the other guy in, and just move on from that. And not only that, you should bring in the kid. Just think about bringing the kid from Pittsburgh, the running back.
Which one?
He's been inactive in every game. He's the rookie.
Izzy.
Izzy.
Yeah. Okay. Because the one thing that became very apparent to me. Look, when I look at the scariest things that can happen to this team, it's clear. You don't want Sauce or Reed. You don't want anything to happen to either one of them. And I don't think long term, I don't think the backups that played would be shutting things down. Don't get me wrong. But we've survived a game without them. We've survived 2 games without Reed. We've survived 1 without the 2 of them. They're still top talent and everything like that. But the scariest things to me, if God forbid anything were to happen to one of our linebackers right now, we're in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
Between Quincy or CJ. CJ really runs that defense. That would be devastating. But I got a taste of it this past week when Garrett Wilson had to come out. He was in the tent.
Yeah.
It is very different. It's very difficult to move the ball through the air when he's off the field.
Yeah.
Because what do you have out there? Granted, you have tight end help. We should run a lot of double tights. You have running backs coming out because Dalvin Cook, he's obviously, and I ain't going to get into that, but we have Cook still here. He can catch passes. Brees can obviously just do anything with a football he wants. But as far as receivers, you got Lazard becomes number one, which, I mean, he's not exactly like a shake off defenders kind of guy. And then who's number two? Cobb? I mean, what's two behind him? We're in a world of hurt if anything happens to Garrett where he's prolonged off the football field. And then you're taking a guy who, again, a quarterback who's just starting to develop and just starting to show us all this stuff. And now you're throwing him to, sorry, I know there's no one to really throw to, but just go make it happen.
The saddest part about this is the fact that the Jets need to have these injury consistencies because Metlife Stadium has, I think, got to be the worst field in the NFL as far as
complaints about it.
That awful turf field, which they supposedly redid this year, put new turf in or whatever, but it still sucks because it feels like every other play that there's somebody down from either team, and just this can't be sustainable. I remember after Vinny Testaverde towards Achilles in the first game in '99, that led to a push where they tried for a few years to switch Giant Stadium to a grass field with the removable trays and all, and it was just a mess. So they gave that up after a few years. Although I think the technology has improved with that since then, so they really should try something like that again.
But JD, it's not an issue of you could switch it. It's a matter of are you willing to spend the money to maintain it? Because from what I understand, for MetLife, to replace it and then maintain it annually is about $3 million. And
that's pocket change for Woody and the Maras.
Well, that's pocket change for Steve Cohen. Mm-hmm. That's not pocket change for these guys that are from old school, that they inherited the money. They're not gonna it's a whole different ball game. I would understand if Steve Cohen was owning the Jets. That's not the case with the Maras and Woody Johnson. Unfortunately, they're willing to spend money on an idiot like what was the name of the running back that we got from Pittsburgh? They make stupid contracts for these other guys, but for the safety of their current players, we're not going to waste $3 million.
Yeah, it's not just them; it's owners throughout the league where just spend the money to protect your players. Your investments. Well,
they may not have a choice soon.
Yeah, the players' union is getting louder and louder as they should.
What I'm hearing, even the league is looking to playing surfaces, and they're going to try to make it more consistent. From what I'm hearing.
Now, I cover the Philadelphia Union, and soccer players are complaining even more about it, and all the stuff for the Union's potential playoff scenarios. Everybody's talking. We got to see if we can avoid New England and Charlotte because of their terrible turf stadiums. There's more and more pressure coming, where I think that the NFL needs to do something, and the players and the players' union need to get louder and louder about this. Because the safety of these players is paramount, and you would think that the owners would be more concerned about putting out a garbage product when you're down to the dregs by the end of the season for a lot of teams just from injuries on these bad fields. They really need to do something about this.
I saw they were having a discussion because I believe Minnesota has a game at home, and I believe is against one of the top tier teams. I don't know if it's against
San Fran.
San Fran. Okay. San Fran has had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
And
They lost half
currently
their
have
team
injuries.
at MetLife Field
Yeah.
a few years ago.
They killed me this week in the knockout pool, but that's a whole other story.
The Jets killed a lot of people in the knockout pool this week.
I bet.
Yeah. So from what I understand, the players union and the league is going to be watching that game very carefully, because Minnesota is one of the few turfs left that it's very, they call it one of the worst as well. And they want to see if San Francisco is just going to say, you know what, we're going to take the loss and we're going to rest a lot of players because we don't want to run the risk of them getting hurt during the game. Or they run him out there and guess what? They get injured. So I think this game is gonna really turn the decision making of like, okay, everyone has to get, and maybe Roger Goodell, from his new salary that he's gonna be receiving, he could put the money in for these new turfs. I don't know.
$70 million for what exactly that Goodell does, aside from just all he does is, but also $70 million to be a shield for the owners. That's what he is. He's cannon
the owners
fodder.
love him,
because instead of yelling at Goodell, you should be yelling at these clown billionaires that don't want to put in a few million extra for player safety.
He's the lightning rod.
JD and King Rob, they showed on Bleacher Report the total salary he's been paid as a commissioner.
What is it, like $300 million?
No,
I was gonna say quarter bill.
It's close to $750 million.
Wow.
He's made more money than the three highest paid NFL players, which is they said it was
Holmes,
Brady, Stafford. Well, actual, as of today,
actual paid all time. Got it.
Brady, Stafford, and they only made like around 300. They only made around 350.
That's 3 times A-Rod's contract.
Yep,
that's nuts.
So you're telling me
that's two Bryce Harpers.
Can't they do a whole maintenance schedule for all 32 teams and just say we're gonna all have grass and NFL's gonna maintain those fields? Simple.
There's gonna be a cash pooling option to do this.
They'll only do it if they're forced, which I'm now going to be paying attention to that Minnesota San Francisco game, because San Francisco was very loud. They filed players union grievances with everybody over MetLife Stadium after they lost half their team 2 weeks in a row playing the Jets and the Giants a few years back. That was when Bosa and Garoppolo, I think McCaffrey and some other ones all were hurt in those games. And that destroyed their season. So if San Francisco starts playing load management in a big game, you're going to see changes.
That's what you're going to see. It's because that's going to affect fantasy football. That's going to affect knockout pools. That's going to affect Vegas. All that stuff that when they say, they're inactive this week.
The more star players that go down from non-contact injuries, you're gonna every one of those draws more attention to it. Now that we are through 6 games, we have our bye week, which we're all excited through. We have our next 4 in the next quarter of the season that way. What do you guys think we basically should be at, need to be at, to be, to remain competitive, to remain in the hunt and everything? What are you guys' thoughts on through the next 4? What do we need to be at to still be in discussion?
So here's the next 4 with their schedule. They're playing the Giants. That better be a win, because if it's not, then just stop.
Dump the season.
It has written all over it, but
then they have the Chargers at home on Monday night.
That's right, Chargers
at the Raiders Sunday night, and they turn around. So they turn around and fly to Vegas on a short week. That might be tough. and then at Buffalo on November 19th. So while that isn't quite the gauntlet, that's not exactly easy either. But
No.
I think they need to. But I think they need to go 3-1 in that stretch to be.
I agree.
A legitimate
3-1. I'll give Buffalo. It's in Buffalo. I get it. Okay.
That's
yeah.
It's
And,
where I was landing
Buffalo.
too.
Oh, damn it! They end the season at New England.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
Oh, jeez.
We'll have that's a whole other 1 hour discussion and just New
Yeah.
England when we
We'll
get
have
there.
another
But
call for that
we
one.
know that. We know that. Yeah, they should beat the Giants. The San Diego coach is terrible. Plus, they're playing here, and we should not lose to the Raiders. They don't have, other than the Parker, Devontae Adams, they don't have anything.
No, it's true. I mean, we shouldn't have lost to New England though, too.
They lost.
Right.
They beat New England, and it was by how much? It wasn't even a lot. So, it should be 3-1.
It should be. I think honestly, if the way I can kind of make amends with it, look, over the next 3 games that we should win each, would I be shocked if we didn't? No. I mean, it's the Jets you're talking about. There's always good for they're always good for the game of, wait a minute, we beat the Bills. We're toe-to-toe with Kansas City. We beat the Eagles, and then we lose to the Giants, or we lose to the Chargers, or whatever it is. I hope that's not the case.
Lose to the Browns for their first win in forever.
Right.
A few years
the only thing I could see, that's right, with the Darnold and Mayfield game.
Yeah.
The 3-1 is where we need to be. 2-2 is acceptable if one of the 2 wins is against the Bills. If they end up 2-2 through the next 4, and they end up beating, like, let's say the Chargers or the Raiders and the Bills, then you get 2 conference wins. You're 2 games up on the Bills now in terms of tiebreaker or whatever. That is still reasonable in the hunt, but we should be coming out of this no worse than 3-1.
Yep.
They still got to play Miami twice too.
We have Miami twice. We have the Bills again in Buffalo. Although the sooner we can get to them, the better. They should change their franchise name to the Buffalo Matt Milano, because when he is not playing, that team isn't remotely the same. I would argue that he might be a more important piece to that team than Josh Allen at this point. Every single time he doesn't play, that team, it looks like an average football team.
And Von Miller. And Von Miller.
Von Miller, sure, he's a help and everything, but like Matt Milano is the guy who runs that team, like from top down. I mean, last year when we beat them, in all fairness, Matt Milano did not play that game. I was very happy he didn't. But I mean, my God, I've never seen such a difference in a defense. And I know they have other injuries now, and they'll whine and piss and moan. Whatever. Any team that can talk to me about injuries, just shut your mouth. That's sort of like we have injury, we have this guy. Stop. It's just you're not comparing. I'm not comparing to Jet fans right now.
All right,
but
we gotta wrap wrap things up soon. Sammy, any final thoughts?
Great win. Great experience. I don't think it's ever going to happen again unless if I beat the Patriots and the Cowboys. Like I mentioned before, those are the only 2 other teams that I would say that I will be in a stadium and say fuck you. I beat you. But let's take the bye week and we better damn beat the Giants.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And same, Rob, your thoughts real quick?
Same sort of sentiment. Just in thinking back on the season, obviously, it's the cliche, but it's, if you told me we weren't actually going to have Aaron Rodgers this year, that wasn't going to happen, but we'd still be 3-3. And not only are we 3-3, but again, it kind of depends on the road how you get there. The last 3 weeks, seeing Zach Wilson improve has been the most promising thing we could possibly have asked for as Jet fans. Like longer, I'm no longer yelling at my TV to punt on 3rd down. Now I'm finally thinking, hey, we can move the football. So, I mean, this is as exciting as we could possibly be right now at this point in time after watching 4 plays into this season. This is
Yeah.
the number one best place we could be right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good for where we thought where our hope went down before I even opened my first beer of the NFL season.
Yeah.
So to come from that to here, all right. I mean, it is still the Jets, so I never get my hopes up that high. But like,
You can't.
okay, maybe we got something here. We'll see.
Yeah.
And for all you viewers out there, let us know in the comments, and we can talk about it on our next installment. We are the JETSters. Check out our other offerings on Stream Punk Sports and the other families in the other channels in the Stream Punk family of networks. We have Stream Punk Soccer, covering soccer in America and several MLS teams. We have Stream Punk Combat, our new channel talking about combat sports, MMA, boxing, and wrestling. There's also a live wrestling show coming up for that, Jabronis United. They go live at 9:30, so check that out. And our most popular channel, Stream Punk Cinema. So thank you, everybody out there. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Rob. And we'll catch you next time.
Later.